everyone, this is Paul Casey, the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame educational video series, where we discuss Kenpo principles, concepts. Sometimes we talk about the basics of Kenpo. We'll talk about maybe self-defense techniques, and occasionally we'll dabble into the art of forms. We look at all aspects of the Kenpo community. Our system encompasses, actually, the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame represents over a dozen different systems. Everything from Parker, Tracy, Shaolin, Hawaiian, Kaji Kenpo, Lima Lama, etc., etc. Lots of different aspects. The law of the fist is what we're about. And occasionally, we're very honored to talk about the newest inductees to the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame. So it is truly my honor to be talking to these men and women as they will be inducted in the 2022 Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame Award Ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, we are very honored to have with us Associate Master Gary Caswell. Gary is a representative of Kenpo for many, many years, and today we're going to talk to him. Gary, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
Thank you. Doing good. Thank you for having me.
It's okay to call you Gary, correct?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. So, Gary, why don't you tell us a little bit about your martial arts journey, how you got involved with it, and where you started?
Okay, well, I was talking with a friend, and this was many years ago, 1975, and her father taught karate. It was the Tang Sudo system, and I got in that and worked out with him for about 5 years, and then I found out about the Kenpo system and Ed Parker, and kind of joined Bob Perry's studio under Ed Parker's system in 1980, and been there ever since, just working out, teaching, and trying to learn as much as I can.
Do you remember your first day walking into the school?
Yes, I do. I remember the first day I walked in. I looked around and I thought, man, I'll never be able to do this. But I stuck with it and just worked hard, and here I am today.
What was the most difficult thing in the early days of your Kenpo journey?
The most difficult thing for me, I think, was trying to learn the forms, the katas. You know, I didn't think I had the ability to learn all that, but I actually pulled through and worked on it, and that really helped develop my art a lot, was getting the katas down. You
trained at Bob Perry's place. Was he your first teacher?
He was my first actual real teacher. Yeah, when I was in Tang Sudo, the instructor there was, he was only a blue belt, and he always told me, in order to really learn the art, I'd have to join a studio and learn under a qualified black belt. And that's when I joined that studio and learned under Bob Perry.
Can you recall your relationship with Mr. Perry? What was it like? How was his teaching, instruction, his demeanor?
Yeah, he was a good instructor. He was right to the point on everything, you know, always liked to teach a lot about power, you know, about how to use your strengths and stuff to your ability, and was very influential in teaching. And I also learned under Bill Neff, which was another good instructor as well, and really did a really good breakdown on all the techniques, forms, and stuff, and showed all the different avenues of how to not only execute the techniques, but how to stop somebody from being able to go further within their attacks.
When you were going through the Kenpo system, you had obviously had 5 years of experience in this other Korean style, which I'm guessing was primarily a kicking system, more along that. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But did you have a problem with the transition on stances and use of the hands?
The hands, not so much. The terminology was the big thing, and stances, because the Korean stances are pretty wide open, as opposed to the Kenpo stances being more neutral. So the stances was the biggest change.
You get into the stances, you obviously understand Ed Parker was a very big man, but his stances were narrow for a reason. Okay. In those stances, he looked at it as a self-defense type of system with basics, techniques, and freestyling. Did you compete and spar in the school when you were there in under Mr. Perry?
Yeah, I competed quite a bit in the studio and in tournaments as well. I didn't do a whole lot of tournaments. I wasn't a big competitor fighting that way. But one of my things later on in life was being able to train competitors. That's what I really like to do, and watch them grow in their competitions and teaching them how to compete. But I did compete and fight in the studio quite a bit.
Did you spend time in the tournament world?
More like I said, and just I went and viewed a lot of tournaments. I did compete in the internationals a couple times. I competed in some of the Bob White tournaments earlier on, years ago, and that's about it. Other than that, I didn't really compete a whole lot.
Did you go to the internationals every year?
Every year, yeah, just about every year. Yeah, I was there quite a bit.
And you got a chance to listen to the voice of the internationals.
The voice of the internationals, yeah, Mr. Perry, yeah. It was actually he helped me get in and kind of gave me some special seating and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's beautiful. In your time at the internationals, as you know, it was so well received because it was sort of like a homecoming. It was a gathering of like minds, of fellow competitors that would compete against each other, but at the end, they would go out and shake hands or eat together. Or in Bob Mitchell's case, he'd make sure that he spent some quality time after the fact. Were there any special individuals that you were very honored to meet at the internationals?
Oh yeah, I was actually I got, that's probably where I first met Bob Mitchell and saw him, was at the internationals. I met Van Dam and Tividad, yeah, Tividad, and some of those guys. I got to meet a lot of them and get to know who they were. Yeah.
What was the most exciting thing for you as a spectator with an education in Kenpo, watching these competitors, say, in the finals?
What I really liked was the forms and some of the way the weapons, the way they performed with weapons and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Have you ever adapted any of that in your training?
Yes, I have. I actually teach a baton form and a bow form, and picked some of that up from the internationals and learned how to use that, and grew our system a little bit by adding some of those katas into our system.
Have you ever, or do you cross-train your martial arts?
I have before. I've cross-trained with some Okinawan karate. I did a little Sansu Kung Fu, but just a little bit here and there. Not a whole lot.
Why is that? I mean, did you find something that you found that most of it was covered in the Kenpo system?
Yeah, just about everything's covered, and it just, Kenpo is so pure and so good that it's hard to pull away from it.
No, I agree with you on that. I've been with Mr. Parker's system since 1978. So I'm very familiar with the Pasadena school and the internationals, how you had to be there every year. My favorite part of it was always the camaraderie ship on Friday nights and seeing all the fellow Kenpoists from around the world and spending some quality time. Did you ever get a chance to meet Frank Trejo?
Yes, I did. I've met Frank Trejo. I actually went to the Ed Parker studio in Pasadena there and met him there and talked with him quite a bit. And yeah, he was a great guy.
Did you ever spend time with Mr. Parker?
Yes, I have. He was at our studio quite a few times. We had some open houses that he came down and spoke at, and did some demonstrations and all. And we actually got kind of close over the years.
What was the most impressive thing about Ed Parker?
To me, it was just how down to earth he was. You know, just very, very easy to approach and talk to, and but then on the other hand, his power was very impressive as well. His strength.
Beautiful. Can you tell me about your other teachers that you trained with after Bob Perry?
Well, the one I trained with after Bob Perry was Bill Neff. Very good instructor. I actually learned a lot about teaching from him because I just sat there and studied the way he taught and how he broke down the moves and everything, and then kind of incorporated that into my teaching. He was very, a lot of help, a lot of great help in my career. And Bob Mitchell, I worked with him a lot, and he's helped me along the way, and just learned a lot of different street techniques and stuff from him that's really helped in teaching.
How long have you been with Bob Mitchell?
I've been with Bob Mitchell now for probably about 7 or 8 years. 2010, I think it was. 2010, yeah.
When you're working with Mr. Mitchell, tell us about, is it his system or the style that he teaches it? Is it Ed Parker's system, or is it a variation of it? Or
No,
is
it's the Ed Parker system. And so what I had to do is pretty much, the Bob Perry system was just a little bit different. So after working with Bob Mitchell, I had to kind of relearn some of the moves and kind of build my ability to teach from there to work with Bob Mitchell and teach his classes.
So you're part of the United Martial Arts for Christ.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that system. Why is it have that name?
Well, our goal is United Martial Artists for Christ, is that just about any system, any style can join it. Okay, it's not just Kenpo, but it's a wide-based foundation. Our goal is to build to spread the word of God as well as teaching the martial arts, and to be able to bring kids up out of their shells and give them confidence, to help them learn how to face the dangers in life and things like that, and be able to handle it as they approaches them.
I see. And how many students do you work with?
Right now, we probably have about 20, 25 students.
And they range in ages, and I'm guessing in different
All
genders.
the way from 5 years old up to in their 60s.
Let's take a moment. How do you teach the young youth?
The youth, the younger ones. Well, the thing about the youth is you got to be really patient with them, and it's just because there's so many different levels of maturity in the youth that you just got to really pace yourself and not expect them to learn too much too quick. And so I just take my time with them. I'm very patient with them. So a lot of the stuff that I use is game oriented a lot of times, like eye-hand coordination, and trying to help them with just being able to maybe even catch a ball, and get the eyes and hands coordinated together, and then change that over into the martial art moves.
You train them not only in the basics, but you also train them in competition like sport fighting or sparring?
Yes, I do. The ones that are interested, I train them and teach them in sport fighting. I've trained quite a few competitors that have won in the internationals and different tournaments around. And yeah, if they have an interest in wanting to compete, I train them in that.
What is the key element in your teaching that you try to convey to these young men and women?
The key element that I try to convey pretty much is to avoid rather than try and get into a conflict, to try and the mental awareness of if a conflict appears to them, to try and avoid and get away from it.
What is the most memorable moment in your martial arts journey as a participant, and then as a follow-up as a teacher?
The most memorable as a participant is probably competing in the internationals and fighting some of the top-notch fighters and being able to do better than I thought I could against them. As far as a teacher, it's great to see somebody grow. You know, I love to watch them grow in the art and expand. I've even taught a couple of kids that were deaf and can't hear. They learned by watching and just kind of copying, and just to watch them being able to grow from a yellow belt to an orange belt is awesome.
Gary, you sound like an amazing man, and it really is an honor to get to know you through this Zoom meeting. I know that millions of others over the years will get a chance to meet you as well. And I'm just going to end this with the final thoughts. What is your vision for Kenpo and your life in this journey?
My vision is and same with the vision with the Martial Artists for Christ, is to bring kids in and get them out of their shells and give them confidence, and not to only just train good kids, but train them to be good adults. And if they can't afford to pay for the classes, we sponsor them and bring them in anyway, because not every kid can afford it. We don't want to say no to anybody. So we do everything we can to make sure martial arts and Kenpo reaches the world out there and helps all the young people out.
Beautiful, just beautiful, truly reflective of who you are and what you stand for. So I would like to say, on behalf of the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame, Associate Master of the Arts, Gary Caswell, congratulations on your nomination to our Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame. The award ceremony will be here in Las Vegas, and I look forward to really spending some personal time when I see you here. And thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule, and more importantly, everything you do for the Kenpo community.
Hey, thank you very much too. I appreciate it, and it's an honor to be able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm really surprised and happy.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. It's wonderful. My name is Paul Casey on the Kenpo Karate Hall of Fame educational video series. We are honored to talk to Gary Caswell today, and with no further ado, sir, salute.
Thank you.
Be safe. Thank you very much.
You too.